In this video, we're talking about life lessons that I've learned playing chess. Now, I just started playing chess, really getting into it, really taking it serious, but I've learned a lot of lessons playing chess, and here's some of the things that I'm going to share with you guys. Now, first off, if you don't really play chess, that's fine, but I'm gonna give you guys like a simple breakdown of what I mean in these analogies. That way, even if you haven't played, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that I've learned in chess is that you always want to be thinking one step ahead. So anything that you do, anything that's going to fail, anything that's going to succeed, anything that you're working on, anything that you're doing, always be thinking one step ahead. Okay, what if I get this job, but this job doesn't last longer than 6 months? Then what? Okay, what if I start this business, but no one else wants to buy it, or it's not as successful? Then what? Okay, I want to start this blank, but it might not turn out how I want it to go. What do I do now, right? Even if it goes to the right way, what if I get this job promotion and they want to scale me up super quickly, but they also want me to travel? What does that look like? Okay, I started this business, but now I got to mentor and take care of these different products or cater to these different people, and it's scaling so quickly. What does that look like? Okay, I'm in this position where I'm constantly working on blank, 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 and it's going a lot better than I expected. What does that look like for me to continually scale or continually grow in that area? And what you always got to be doing, especially in your life, is thinking one step ahead. If this doesn't work out, or if this does phenomenal, what's the next step? Because if you're always thinking in the moment, it's going to take away what can happen in the future, because you're not thinking that far. You're always thinking about what's going to happen right then and there. Okay, well, dang, this thing happened in my life, and now I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know who I need to be in contact with. I don't know, what things look like. And the more that you can kind of analyze, okay, this is what's going to happen, and if anything does happen, I'm already thinking about one step ahead. It puts you one step ahead of the opponent, which is life, or against someone else that you're already playing the game with. So especially when you play games with somebody and you're playing competitively with somebody, you're always thinking about what your next move is before you even do it. Or you're thinking about what their move is before they even do it. So that way you can start rather getting in their head, or you just get a step ahead further, and you understand what your strategy is and what you're going to do to operate to win the game. I think that the way that life works and the way that you kind of maneuver in life is to make sure that you're executing the steps that you need to do, but also staying one step ahead to continually grow and become who you're supposed to be. Second thing that I've learned in chess is that the king always moves one piece while the queen can zip wherever she wants to go. So when you think about it, as a man, you're building up your foundation as it's supposed to be. You're building up your kingdom, right? You're doing and building up your foundation piece by piece, right? You have to go get a good job. You have to go pay the right things. You have to talk to the right people. You have to start your business. You have to build it up. Meanwhile, the girl just has to look pretty for her to get on the yacht. The girl just has to look pretty for her to go on the trip. The girl just has to look pretty and be passenger princess. Meanwhile, you had to work for the car and everything that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? The foundation starts with you moving piece by piece by piece. Meanwhile, the queen is just zipping across the board. And what you start understanding is that the foundation starts with you. The king is the most important piece on that board. And when you start understanding that the game has to operate around protecting the king, you start understanding that sometimes you got to sacrifice different things. And that kind of ties me into my next one. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the queen. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the pawns. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the bishops just for you to protect the king. And when you apply that to life, you understand sometimes you got to get rid of that girl that's not really serving you the way you want it to. Sometimes you got to get rid of people that aren't really protecting you or aren't really supporting you the way that you need to be. Sometimes you got to get rid of certain pieces or certain things in your life for you to protect the king, because the king is the most important piece on the table. And the thing is that the king can get checked, but as long as he doesn't get checkmated, the game isn't over. So you have to continually be finding out, okay, what does it look like for me to strategize? What does it look like for me to move one step ahead? What pieces do I have to give up for me to actually stay in the game? Because the longer that you keep the king alive, the more strategy and the longer the game goes. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of the game. The whole point of chess is to protect the king. And I think that the most important part about chess in life is that you are always adjusting. You play, they play. You play, they play. You don't understand what their strategy is or what they're looking at all the time, but the moment that they take something, the moment they make a move, you have to adjust to make sure that you are protecting the king, or to make sure that you are still in the game of life, to make sure you're continually going and continually growing, because you're always evolving. Everything that you do a part of the game of life, you're always adjusting with. Again, sometimes you got to give pieces up, but what do you do when you operate without that piece? How do you still win the game without that piece? Sometimes you got to sacrifice it Sometimes you gotta sacrifice the queen. How do you operate without that lady in your life? How do you operate without that person in your life? How do you operate without that friend group in your life? How do you operate without your family or your close circle in your life all the time? How do you operate to still be able to win the game? You know what I'm saying? So you're always making different adjustments. You're always making different movements for you to continually stay in the game. And it's not like you use the same strategy to win the game every single time. So what you realize is that every single game is different. Every single time you play with someone different, they have a different strategy. Every time you step into a new field with a new person, or you start operating with a new friend group, there are different people with different strategies, different goals, different mindsets that you have to just kind of play around with for you to operate with. But the more you start understanding that the king is the most important piece on the board, so without the king, you can't win the game, or you lose the game, right? Second thing is, the king has to move one space at a time. Meanwhile, the queen can zip wherever she wants to go. Third thing is, you always need to be thinking one step ahead of your opponent, or in life in general, to make sure you get ahead. And the fourth thing is that you need to make sure you're always open to adjustments and you're always looking at the pieces on the board. Again, if you don't really play chess like that, that's all right. But there's so much strategy and pieces that go into the board that you have to pay attention to, but you win or lose by taking the king. And that's why he's the most important piece on the board. So these are just some of the things that I've learned from playing chess and hearing it from other people that have chess mindsets, how to actually be able to win in life through chess. You understand? Sometimes you have to go through different things for you to understand how life works, if you will. I mean, you can relate so many games to life, but I think chess is one of the main ones. When you start to sit down and actually think about how life operates, you start to analyze how much you actually apply it to your life for you to get a step ahead. So that's really all I got for you on this video, how I think life compares to chess, and really just kind of playing the game of life. You know what I'm saying? That being said though, that's all I got. Like this video, share this video with a chess player. Maybe you and your dad play, you and your grandpa play, you and a friend play, because they will be able to understand the references that I'm talking about. But that being said, y'all, I will talk to y'all in the next video. I'm gone.